What is going on, everybody? Shwazy here, and in today's video we are at the Tour de Force here in Sun Valley, Idaho. It is a huge car event that happens once a year where some of the most amazing cars across the country gather for various events, cruises, car shows. And in today's video we're going to be documenting this entire weekend's event because me and my brother are here for the whole weekend showing off all of the cool events at this amazing car show. So without further ado, let's get this video started. Alright, well, we made it to the top of the Huckleberry Drive. Here we are at Smiley Creek, and we'll check out some of the cool cars here, take some photos, then head back down the mountain. Alright, everybody, we made it to the Sun Valley Tour de Force car show going on Friday, and it starts here in just about an hour. We're just finished setting up the Hellcat. Let's show you a quick 360 and we'll check out all the cool cars here in just a moment. Alright, here she is, probably the cleanest she's gonna be for a while, because then we're driving this about 500 miles back home, but nice and purple. Now you guys love seeing this car on the channel. Shout out to my brother over there for helping me clean this vehicle up this afternoon as we arrived. And she's looking good. Also, shout out to Octane Coffee. Pick yourself up a bag of either the Goat, Big Block, or Race Gas over here. Especially for all you Hellcat lovers, you got to pick up some Octane Coffee, locally roasted. It's a great cup of coffee in the mornings or on a long drive up the canyon. everybody, that finishes off the Tour de Force car show that happened today. Tomorrow's event is the no speed limit runs on Phantom Hill. So we're gonna fast forward to tomorrow and show you some of the cool footage from the crazy, beautiful cars that are gonna be going top speed on Phantom Hill, including the debut of the 750S. So stay tuned for that. All right, so we woke up at 6 in the morning. Right now it's about 6:45, and we just got to the SNRA. It's the Sawtooth National Recreation Area, and you know, there hasn't been very much direction here, so this is kind of the recommendation from locals to come and park here and take what's called the Harriman Trail all the way up to Phantom Hill, or at least the viewing area to see these cars pass. So we're supposed to be trekking about 4 miles right now. We'll see if that's true, but that's a 4-mile hike just to get to the destination where you can see them pass and hit their top speeds. That's not even the starting line. So let's see where this goes, but this is kind of a long hike, and it's a really early morning. About 4/10 of a mile in. Tom Cruise run. All right, so we're about 1 mile in so far, not seeing any type of finish line or anything like that, or even a viewing area, so I think we got to keep going. We've been walking for probably about, what, 20-25 minutes, but this is what the trail looks like. It's pretty much this for the last mile or so. Not bad. It's not like a super extreme hiking trail, but still inconvenient to be up at 6 in the morning to get to a race. All right, so we walked about 2 miles. It's been about pretty much this the entire time. We hear some vehicles, but there's no finish line yet. All right, about 2.4 miles on the Harriman Trail. Really pretty area in the woods here. We still got a little ways to go, probably about a mile to get to the viewing point. All right, we're about 3 1/3 miles in. We just crossed onto the other side of the road, and I think we're coming up close to the viewing point because we just passed the area where they're essentially going to start slowing down. It's not the finish line, but it kind of is, at least from a race standpoint. But this is what the rest of the trail looks like. I think we're almost there. So it's been about an hour and maybe 10 minutes of walking. All right, this is the finish line right there. It's about a half a mile north of Murphy Bridge. We got probably about another half mile to get to. There's this little viewing point up ahead. All right, we made it to one of the viewing areas, and here's where they have the speedometer as well. So this is the finish line, pretty much right down there, and we'll see the cars coming through at high speed. We did have to walk kind of along the sagebrush to get here. The trail that we walked on is back there, but they should be beginning here shortly. This is the GTI truck. 108.9. Speed 198.4. Wow. $190. 200. 203. That fast. 9.8. 194.8.
This is the pro driver here.
Yes, a professional McLaren driver. 200.1.
Ooh, 211.
133. Might be a McLaren. I think that's a McLaren. Bro! All right, so some really cool runs. That was the first 3 out of 9 heats, but tons of fast cars, quite a few over 200 miles an hour. One thing that surprised me was the McLaren prototype. That one, it actually did 2 runs. First time it was like 198, the second time it hit 200. It didn't go much faster than that. I mean, not that 200 is slow, but definitely a little bit surprising because that's their prototype vehicle. They were hoping to hit over 200 miles an hour in it, and they had a professional McLaren race car driver drive it. So it may have some more runs throughout the day, but so far the fastest speed on that one was 200. Well, it's getting kind of hot out here, so we're gonna probably head back into town, but nonetheless, a really fun event seeing cars hit their top speeds. All right, everybody, that finishes off the Tour de Force event here in Sun Valley, Idaho. We're just about to pack up, head back to Utah. But before we finish off this video, let's regroup back in my garage because I want to talk about my thoughts of the event, my recommendations, and what cars I did and didn't see. See you all in just a second. Okay, so we made it back to Utah, so I wanted to share my honest thoughts about the event. And in all honesty, this event was fun, but heavily disorganized. Now, to give you some backstory here, my brother planned this trip as like a birthday gift, and he started this process back in 2022. So he's been involved in this for a long time. And back then, he reached out to the event organizers and asked them for tickets for the flagship event, which is the no speed limit run on Phantom Hill. That's what you saw in the video where they shut down the road and they let you hit top speed and they clock it and they give you all the details. Well, back in 2022, he was told to wait until spring of 2023 to get some more details on the event and buy tickets. Well, when he did reach out to them, turns out that the tickets are already completely sold out. And later on at the Tour de Force, we found out that this no speed limit event has a 2 to 3 year wait list just to get a chance to buy tickets. That was the first instance where they essentially misled us into believing we could buy tickets when we really probably couldn't. After which, my brother inquired about a car show because the Tour de Force does include a car show on Friday night. Well, the response he received was, this is a free car show, so you don't need to buy tickets. Well, that's really only partly the truth because general admission to just enter and view the cars is free. But if you want to participate, you have to pay $80. Now, he wasn't told any of this information. Luckily, I stumbled upon it on the website 1 week before we departed, and I was able to secure a spot in the car show. But upon arriving there on Wednesday, we really had no idea what events were going on this weekend. I mean, their website is extremely basic. There's really no details about the event. There's no itinerary. There's no schedule. You kind of have to figure it out yourself. There are some events listed on the website, but all of them show as sold out. And so you can't get any details unless you happen to be one of the lucky few that purchased tickets ahead of time. And in terms of ticket purchases, there was no type of wait list or subscribe to find out when you're gonna get tickets for sale. You just had to consistently monitor this website to be one of the lucky few that happened to be on there when they decided to post tickets. So by asking a few people around us, shout out to Instagram handle GT Mac and Cheese for giving us some details because he was able to get into some of these events and he shared the information with us as would make sense for Tour de Force to do on their website. But we found out that they were going to be meeting that Thursday morning at this hotel where they would have a little bit of a breakfast that you can also buy tickets for, and then you would depart on a cruise all together up the canyon. Now, the following morning, we tried to actually get the Hellcat into this car cruise event. We showed up in line and we said, hey, can we buy tickets at the event? I know it's sold out on the website. And their answer was, no, we can't sell any more tickets. We don't have enough parking spots at the top of the canyon for everybody to fit in. Okay, so we decided to park and go get breakfast. That is assuming we could find a place to pay for our breakfast. We show up at this event and we walked around for pretty much 30 minutes until a nice gentleman, I believe by the name of Joe, helped us out to get tickets to be able to enter into this breakfast buffet. Well, after finishing our breakfast, we decided to drive up the same canyon that everybody else was going to be driving up and just check out some of the cool cars as they arrive on this designated parking lot. Well, when we get up there and all of the cars start pulling in, as you saw in today's video, turns out there's actually still plenty of parking in that parking lot. So if they had accepted my money, which I was willing to pay, I would have been able to go up on the same cruise as everybody else, but that's neither here nor there. The following day was the big car show that I was able to get into, and there was another sign of disorganization. As you're pulling into this designated park, they have this big Porsche flag, but no flags for Tour de Force. And we've seen those Tour de Force flags on the previous day, so I know they have them, but none of them were posted on the entrance. So me and this other car in front of me pulled into a different entrance into the same park, only to be yelled at for entering the wrong entrance, even though there were no signs for entrance anywhere in that park. Anyways, that brings us to the most disorganized event, which is their flagship event, the no speed limit run on Phantom Hill. Well, for the past few days, we've been trying to get more details about this event because, like I said, their website has none of that. Where do you meet? Where can you see the cars? What time do the cars start going? What is the timeline of this entire event? And none of that information was available to us. Finally, after talking to half a dozen different people and piecing things together, it turns out we should be parking pretty far down the hill and then hiking all the way up to this viewing area, which is anywhere from 1 to 4 miles away. And then we could potentially see the cars either in the starting or the finish line. Some people also told us there may be a shuttle that will pick people up at the parking lot and take you all the way to the viewing area. Well, that turned out to be wrong. Now, since Tour de Force doesn't post any of this information on their website, and we couldn't really find any of this info online, this video may be the only one on YouTube or on the internet that tells you exactly what you should expect and what you should do if you want to be a spectator of this no speed limit event. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to park at the SNRA. It's the Sawtooth National Recreation Area. And you're going to have to be in generally pretty good shape because it's a 4-mile hike up to what is pretty much the finish line, or the place where they're going to be clocking the speed of these cars. Now, me and my brother ended up getting there really early in the morning at 6:45 because we wanted to make sure we were able to get to this event. From what we've been told, there's no other parking sites north of this SNRA. There are some campgrounds, but parking there for the Harriman Trail, which is the trail you'll need to take to get to this viewing area, is prohibited on the campground. So you got to park at your own risk. So the best place is the SNRA, and it's not that big of a parking lot. So we were concerned that if we had got there at 7:30, we'd have to turn back around and just go back home, and we wouldn't be able to see these cars running these high-speed runs. Well, it turns out you could probably get there a little bit later and be just fine. The parking lot doesn't get that full during the day. Also, I would wear some hiking boots or maybe even pants because you're gonna have to trek through some dirt, some sagebrush, because there is no formal viewing area. It's just a giant field that you're gonna have to stand in under the sun and watch these cars as they pass. And really the only way you know that you've reached your destination is you start seeing some people here and there, and there's this tent that happens to have this big display that shows the speed of cars passing by. Now, the cherry on top for this disorganized event was you have this tent with about 4 people sitting inside of it, and one of them is writing down the speed on a notepad. The other person is communicating via walkie-talkie to a base camp. So they have multiple checks and balances to ensure the speed they have on that speedometer is clocked in the system and it's recorded. The problem is nobody in that tent felt the need to announce the speed to the dozens of people that had just trekked 4 miles up a canyon between 6 to 8 in the morning to stand in this giant field. Yes, they didn't have a single microphone, megaphone, or anything to announce the speed. In fact, I asked them, are you guys going to be announcing the speed as these cars pass by? Because you have a giant display in front of you showing the exact speed as cars pass by, and their answer to that was, no, we're not announcing the speed. So lo and behold, me and my brother, who were somewhat close to the tent and were able to read the display, had to shout the numbers out to the people 500 feet down the road because they couldn't see the sign. They were yelling at us, what's the speed? And we had to announce it to them. There was no microphone. There was no way of seeing it online. There was no live feed for people to view on their phones. There was none of that. It was a very, very bare bones, minimal operation. And considering the cost of running down this hill one time, you would think they'd have things a little bit more buttoned up or put together than they actually did. So overall, would I recommend going to this event? Well, if you happen to live within like an hour and a half of the area, yeah, it's an awesome event to go to. You can check it out. for a few hours, then drive back home. If you happen to be one of the lucky ones that's on the website when the tickets go live and you can secure a spot into any of the events, yeah, it's pretty fun because I assume you have the details of where you're meeting, the schedule, the timeline, and so you can plan for it and plan your activities around it. If you happen to be like me and my brother who went up there thinking we can maybe come as spectators and just see some of these cool cars, you might be a little disappointed because you're gonna have to figure out a lot of that stuff on your own. Nonetheless, we did see some pretty cool cars, but 75% or so were either McLarens or Porsches. The rest of the cars were ones you probably have seen on the roads. Now, I will say it was amazing to see the McLaren Speedtail. I've never seen that in person. I don't think it's even legal in the United States. It was also really cool to see a Porsche Carrera GT, a new Ford GT, an old Ford GT all parked right next to each other. So there were some really cool moments where you saw some cars that you'd never see before, but I didn't see any types of Bugattis or Koenigsegg's or anything like that. A lot of the cars, as you may have seen in the video, were just McLarens and Porsches. But there you have it, folks. That was my honest opinion about this event. Am I glad I went? Yes. Would I go again? Probably not. But let me know your thoughts on the event. Did you like today's video? If you did, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for all of the weekly car videos. Also, check me out on all the social media at Schwazy_. Until next time, everybody, I hope you stay Schwazy, stay healthy, have a wonderful day.